This is Rowena Scherer. I am founder of Eat to Explore, as well as the author of The Taste of the World, Celebrating Global Flavors. And today I'm really excited to work with Melissa Produce to present and work with you two recipes from our book and also from our boxes. Now let me tell you a little bit about Eat to Explore and my journey to start this company. So Eat to Explore is an award-winning food and cultural experiential cooking kit. And we want to bring families together to learn about different culture and learn it through the exploration of world cuisines. So every box is a country, and we have 24 countries. And each country comes with 3 recipes, essential spices and condiments, explorer booklets, as well as fun cooking tools to learn about the country and to cook the food. So for instance, our South Korea box, we have a book fun cooking tool. This is making Gimbop, which is what we're going to show today. We have a explorer booklet to learn about the country, the geography and history and music and art. And then we have 3 recipes, which is actually recipes that's included in the cookbook as well. But what's different as well is we give you all the essential spices and condiments. There's always a fun cooking tool, and also flag pins and passport for kids to really get excited about learning a country. So today we are going to cook 2 recipes from the cookbook and also from the box. One from China and one from South Korea. If you go to the cookbook, it's and most of you should have it. It's on page 26 and also on page 56. So with 26, we are making the sesame gingerly soy meatballs. It's definitely one of the kids' favorite. And then we are also making Gimbop, which is Korean. They don't call it sushi, but it's similar to sushi, and I'll explain a little bit more. So before we start cooking, I actually like to tell you the story on why I started Eat to Explore and also the cookbook. So I grew up in Malaysia, and when I was young, my mother made us, spend Sunday together making a meal as a family. And I remember that so vividly because that's kind of how I developed my love for food, my love for cooking. And coming to this country many years later, working on Wall Street and having 2 children, I sort of forgot the importance of that family time, of coming together and making a meal and teaching my children a real life skill. So I actually was at a cooking class in Thailand when my kids were at that moment 9 and 12. And we were doing a family cooking class, and they were looking at me with an onion and said, "Mom, what do you want me to do with this?" And I was frankly disappointed with myself because I felt like, I really have failed because I have not taught them how to cook, and I have not really taken the time to spend with them and teach them about the world, about the food, about cooking. And so I came back from that trip literally. I took a sabbatical, and I thought, I should impart all my experience. I'm a culinary trained. I went to French Culinary Institute. I'm a mom who knows cooking and food, and I actually have lived in a lot of different countries. And everywhere I go, it's always about, what's the culture, where's the market, what do they eat, what's the difference? And so it's like putting that experience together and really make family experience that family time, which is so important when they're young, to come together and learn about a country together and actually have a real conversation. The world is so connected now for our kids technologically, but yet, socially, I really think we lack that moment of coming together and actually discuss what's going on. And everything in every country, there's a history behind it, there's a connection, and so there's a lot of story that to share at the dining table. So I'm really excited to bring you a taste of the world, and hopefully you get to do this with your family. Okay, now let's start. First, let me present to you this beautiful platter of vegetables from Melissa Produce that we're going to use for these 2 recipes. Maybe I'll just quickly go through them. So we got here shiitake mushrooms. That's great, Japanese mushroom that a lot of Asian cuisine use. We got nice beautiful carrots. We got daikon. I'm using a daikon instead of radish, just to change it up. We got some bok choy, some beautiful butter lettuce for the meatballs, some mini cucumbers, also called Persian cucumbers, and garlic. And of course, in addition to all those beautiful vegetables, with Asian cooking, you use a lot of condiments. And I'm going to quickly go through the condiments required for both dishes. For the meatballs, you will use some oyster sauce and Shaoxing wine, which is a rice wine that a lot of Asian cooking requires. And we use some mustard and vinegar. And for that dish, I'm actually going to use a Chinese chunking vinegar, which actually you use a lot in the General chicken as well. And you got sesame seeds, sesame oil, which you use in pretty much a lot of Asian cooking. And then for the Gimbop, the Korean Gimbop, in addition to sesame oil and soy sauce, we actually use mirin, which is another rice wine, but it's made of sweet rice. So slight difference. It's sweeter, which gives that the bulgogi a great flavor. All right, now let's start cooking. All right, so let's start cooking. All right, let's do our first one, which is the sesame gingerly meatballs wrapped in lettuce, and that's on page 26. And step one, we're really just prepping all the vegetables. So we're gonna, mince off some garlic, cut the scallion, and cut the mushrooms. And this one I'm actually using shiitake. You can also use button mushrooms. And then we'll wash the lettuce, and then we'll also clean up the bok choy. All right, so let's go one by one. With garlic, the best thing about garlic is you need to smash it up to really get the oil. So if you use the back of the knife, just kind of press on it, and it will come off very quickly, the skin. So and as you can tell, in every step, we actually, because it's meant for children, we actually teach them, make sure you peel it and then mince it. And sometimes we even tell you how big a slices it needs to be. Like, for instance, the scallion, kind of like cut into a 1/4 inch slices. So with the garlic, it's to mince it, and if you have a garlic mincer, you can even use the garlic mincer as well. So depending on the size of the garlic, because this is a pretty big one, I've made them into three garlic cloves. And with kids, I always like to teach them, this is a great way of mincing garlic. Just kind of hold it on one end with your palm, and then just go around and just up and down, and you get it into a really fine mince of garlic. Okay. And next up, we're going to put this aside. With the scallion, similarly, we explain, now this is a spring onion, so it has the bulb, but it's the same thing. We'll use it because it's fresh from Melissa produce, so we'll use every part of the spring onion except for the ends. So you can just slice them first, and then this aside. We are going to trim the ends and then just cut them into, 1/4 inch. So we'll do the same with the ends here. So we're going to slice this. This is a little smaller. We're going to slice the onion up, the spring onion. Cut them into small pieces here, and then slice it up. And this is actually really fresh. Okay, you can put this aside. And then with the mushroom, especially with shiitake, make sure you cut off the ends, that's the stem. And then we actually want it into, if it's small, like button mushroom, into a quarters, but because this is a pretty large shiitake mushroom, I'm just gonna slice it first and then cut it into a smaller cubes. Do the same for the rest. And then what I wanted to tell you is with bok choy, a lot of times there's a lot of like dirt inside, so I like to just kind of cut it and then rinse it off multiple times to really get rid of the dirt. So again, always cut the ends, and then I like to slice them into halves like this, and then put them in the water to clean up. And we are also the same thing with the Boston lettuce. Just take it off in each leaves and then rinse it off properly. See, it's a lot of dirt, so rinse those off properly. And then here's the mixture of all the ingredients for the gingerly soy mix. So I already pre-mixed it based on the recipe. And now step 2, I actually pre-cooked the rice. You can follow the instruction to make the rice. And it's ready to serve. We are going to start making the meatballs. Step number 3 for the gingerly soy meatballs. I have here ground pork, and then we're gonna add the panko, the egg, some sugar, half of the garlic, and half of the scallion, and a pinch of salt, and then we're gonna mix that up. Okay, well, now you're gonna mix it up. Mix it well. And if you have an ice cream scoop, it's kind of fun to use ice cream scoop to make the meatballs. I'm actually going to use a tablespoon, which is nice and small, kind of bite size. So an interesting fun fact, there are, as you know, many kind of meatballs all around the world in every cuisine. Meatballs actually originally comes from Middle East, actually in Turkey to be specific. And now you got Swedish meatballs, you got Chinese meatballs, you got Italian meatballs. So all kind of meatballs got adopted and adapted around the world. All right, now we're gonna make the meatballs. Okay, use a tablespoon, scoop it up, kind of about that size. And this is a fun thing to do with kids, and even as young as 3-year-old. You give them a little meat and then roll it up into balls. It's kind of fun to do. And keep doing this until you got a nice number of meatballs to cook. So in the recipe, we are recommending using a broiler and instead of frying it, because it's healthier in a way, because you don't really have to fry it in oil. But my new thing that I love to use for meatballs is actually air fryer. We're actually going to try using air fryer to fry our meatballs, and then we are then going to put it in the sauce to braise it. So someone asked me, what is the difference between all the meatballs around the world? And really comes down to the sauce. You know, the meat is usually meat and seasoning and breadcrumbs. But what's the difference? The sauce, for instance, the Indian version is usually with a curry sauce, and the Italian version is obviously with tomato sauce. And with our version, we're doing like a soy gingerly sauce, so that's the Asian style. So yeah, that's really the big difference. It's they're all braised in different sauce. Okay, we are almost done, and then we are going to put this in the air fryer. I like the air fryer too because it's quick, and with the broiler, you need to also kind of turn it. Whereas with the air fryer, they fry evenly all around, and it stays the really nice round shape too. Okay, we are ready with the meatballs. Now we're gonna go to the air fryer. So we got it here. Gonna set it at about 350, and I'm gonna warm it up. And now I'm gonna put the meatballs in the pan. Now do not overcrowd it. Just make sure there's gaps between the meatballs so that it can fry evenly. With the air fryer, you need circulation of air to fry them evenly. So if you put it too crowded, it doesn't come out well. So we put them in circular, and now we are going to put it. All right. 20 minutes max. And while we wait for the meatballs to get ready, we're going to start with the sauce. The gingerly soy sauce. So a little bit of oil, and then we're going to add the mushroom. And let it saute till sort of brown. Alright, the mushroom is starting to brown. So now we can add the sauce. So first put the gingerly soy sauce. Sugar. And then the cornstarch with 1 cup of water. And this will thicken up the sauce. While this is cooking, let's go check on our meatballs. Ooh, yes, it's nice and brown. All right, it's ready to go. We're gonna now put this out and move it to the sauce. Okay, now we can add the meatballs into the sauce gently so it doesn't splash. Actually doing a little slightly less than the recipe, so you should have another kind of second batch of the same meatballs amount. So just want to let you know it's not this little. So there'll be plenty for 4, family of 4. All right, so now just let it braise, and we can turn the heat down. And while this is cooking, we're gonna do the bok choy. And now we're gonna do the bok choy, saute bok choy. A little bit of oil again. And then we're gonna add the remaining garlic. And let that turn up the heat a little. That will help. So let this brown a little bit. And I have cleaned up all the bok choy and sliced them in half, so it's ready to go. And it cooks pretty fast, so you want to do this while the meatball is being braised. So now cover the bok choy, so let it steam and cook for a little bit. You don't want to overcook the bok choy. You want it to be crunchy. So just cook for 2 to 3 minutes. And the steam will make it nice and soft. And here it is, your gingerly soy meatball with bok choy, and you can make it into a lettuce wrap, just like this. Enjoy! Okay, now we're gonna do the Korean gimbap. So the difference between the Japanese sushi and Korean gimbap is actually the rice seasoning. So the Japanese sushi, even though they're both wrapped in seaweed, the Japanese sushi actually have their rice seasoned with vinegar, whereas the Korean gimbap is seasoned with soy sauce and sesame oil. And because it's already well seasoned with soy sauce, you don't need to dip in soy sauce, unlike the Japanese sushi. And the other major difference too is that Japanese sushi usually have raw fish, whereas with Korean gimbap, it's definitely pickled vegetables and usually with meat. And in this case, we're doing a bulgogi beef. So let's start to prep the ingredients. And if you go to page 56, that's the gimbap. And we are going to, slice up the daikon in this case instead of radish. And then we're also going to cut some carrots, some cucumber, and then some scallion. So let's start. So with the daikon, put this down. First, it has a really tough skin, so we're gonna peel off the skin. So after you peel off the skin, we're gonna cut, and because it's such a big daikon, we only need a small quantity. Just take a portion of this and just slice them. And if you do the daikon, I probably only need this much of daikon. And if you obviously use radish, we will need 5 radishes for the recipe. So thinly slice. And what you really want is like this. Put them together and then slice it together so it's easy. And so this is what you want. So like thin strips, okay? And I am actually already pre-made the pickle juice, and I'm gonna put them in there. You don't need a lot because you only need several strips for each of the gimbap. And so I'm just gonna put this away. And now we'll do the carrots. And you can put them together on the same pickle juice. So, oh yeah, and the pickle juice I actually use, because I don't have rice vinegar with me, so I use apple cider, sugar and salt, and some water. So now I already have the carrots peeled, cut the ends. And similarly, into strips, thin slice first. Okay. Cut them into thin slices like this. and then put them in the same pickling juice. And next we're gonna cut the cucumber. Cut the end first, remove the ends. Put them, this is a pretty long one, so I cut it in half. Similarly, just slice them up and then put them into thin little strips. Now you don't need to pickle the cucumber, they're really nice and juicy, so leave them as it is. And last and not least, we are going to cut the scallion. All right, now we are done with the cucumber and also the pickled radish and actually daikon and carrots. And now we are going to do the scallion. So this is kind of in season spring onion from Melissa Produce. I'm going to cut the ends again similarly and cut the ends of this. And then just cut them into strip for now, and then what we'll do is thinly slice them. And this is a big scallion of spring onion, so one onion will do, spring onion. Okay, now just thinly slice them like this. Okay, step 2, we have finished making the rice, and now with Gimbop we are going to add some soy sauce and also the sesame oil to season it. So 1 tablespoon of sesame oil and 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and just mix them well. So this is well seasoned and delicious, so make sure it is nicely blended. And put this aside, and then we can follow the step 4, making the omelette, and then we can make the bulgogi, and then we can start rolling the gimbap. All right, so here you go. You can mix it well, and here's the rice, the seasoned rice. Next, we are cooking the omelette and the bulgogi meat. And this is step 4 and 5 of Gimbop. So, a bit of oil. We're gonna do the omelette first. Three omelette with some water. Pinch of salt. And when it's nice and hot, gently pour the egg mixture in. So, see the egg? We can kind of swirl it around to let it cook a little bit. And when the side starts to brown up a little bit, you can flip it around. Okay, let me finish this. Okay, now you can see a little bubbly brown on the edges, so just flip them over. Oops, I just broke it. Never mind. It will still be fine. There you go. And let it brown on both sides. And put it onto your cutting board and thinly slice them. And next, using the same pan, you don't have to use a new one. Add a little bit of, just a tiny bit of oil. And we will cook the beef. Brown them. when the meat is brown, you can add the bulgogi sauce, which is a mixture of mirin, soy sauce, sesame oil, garlic powder, and sugar. Throw that in. Put the spring onion in. And let it cook it a little bit until the sauce absorb into the meat, and then we can start putting our gimbop together. So coming back to the cutting board, the cooked omelette, we are just going to roll it up and just thinly slice them. If you're doing this with children, make sure it's cooled down before you get them to help you slice it. Okay, now we're going to put the gimbop together. So this is a nori sheet, which you can use for sushi and also gimbop. And there's usually a shiny part and then a more rougher part. So make sure you put the shiny part on the mat itself, and also dampen up the mat so it rolls better. Okay. And what we do now is we put the rice, the seasoned rice, right in the middle, and sort of spread it out. A thin spread of rice. You can kind of start from the middle and go to the end, to the side. And then after that, you can put your meat first. The bulgogi that we did. Again, always start from the middle and then spread it to the ends. And then put some pickled carrots, and in this case daikon or radish, if you do the radish pickle. This dish is really colorful. You got the orange, the green cucumber, and now you put a bit of the omelette. And now cucumber. And then you use one end of the mat, sushi mat, and roll over the rice and the filling. And then what you do is press it in. Press it in like this. And then kind of gently roll it through to the other end of the nori. And then press it again. And voila, there you go. And with the gimbop, I would like to always brush it with a bit of sesame oil. Make it a little shiny and tastier. And now you can remove that mat, seal it properly, and we can slice it up. With the knife, I usually wet it first. It's easier to slice. And make sure you have a sharp knife. And there you go. Your gimbop's ready. Enjoy! So I hope you've enjoyed cooking with me. The 2 recipes are definitely one of my favorite, and but there's 61 more recipes to go from 20 countries. So please check us out. And with our Explorer boxes, we have 24 countries to explore. And it's not just from food perspective. You actually learn about the culture, the geography and history and music and art and language. So it's a fun way to get to know each country. I hope you check us out. Our cookbook is available on Amazon and most bookstores and libraries. And then our boxes, our Explorer boxes, are available on our website. Check us out at eat2explore.com. So it's EAT, the number 2, EXPLORE.com. And you can even get the spices and sauces there if you have difficulty finding the spices for each of the recipes. So until next time, thanks for having me. Bye.